There was nothing more we could do. I'm so very sorry.
I remember the hallway more than the room. The lights hummed above me, and I said, "Emily, I'm right here. You don't have to rush." She squeezed my fingers and whispered, "I'm scared." "I know," I said. "We'll hear the heartbeat, and we'll laugh about this later." She didn't answer. A nurse passed us and asked, "You're the husband?" "Yes," I said. "I'm him." Emily stared at the floor. When the doctor finally came, Emily stood too fast. I said, "Easy. Lean on me." She did, and her voice shook. "Can you tell him?" I smiled, trying to be strong. "Tell me what?" "We Saturday." The door closed. The doctor said, "I'm sorry," and paused. Emily spoke before he could finish. "I lost the baby," she said. I laughed once, stupid and sharp. "No. You mean complications. You mean rest." She shook her head. "Miscarriage." The word landed wrong. I said, "Say it again. Slower." "Miscarriage," she said, crying now. "I'm so sorry." I said, "This isn't your fault." I said it fast, like speed could save us. "It's my fault. I worked too much. I stressed you." She covered her face. "Please don't." I held her. "We'll try again. We are young. We are okay." The doctor cleared his throat. "I'll give you time." When he left, Emily said, "I failed you." "You didn't," I said. "I failed you. I should have been here sooner." She pulled away. "I need air." I stood. "I'll get water." "No," she said. "Just sit." We sat in silence. She kept her arms crossed. I noticed her bag on the chair, packed neatly. I ignored it. I noticed her phone buzzing, face down. I ignored it. I said, "Do you want me to call your sister?" "No," she said. "Not yet." "Your mom?" "No." I nodded. "Okay. It's us." She looked at me like she wanted to say more. "I don't know how to live with this." "Together," I said. "We live together." She whispered, "Promise." "I promise," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." A nurse knocked and asked, "Pain level?" Emily said, "Fine." I said, "She's strong." The nurse smiled and left. Emily wiped her cheeks and said, "I'm tired." "Lean on me," I said again. She leaned, but her body stayed tense. I felt it and told myself it was grief. I told myself love could carry weight like this. Later, in the car, she stared out the window. I said, "We can name the baby, still." She flinched. "Don't." "Okay," I said. "I'm sorry." At home, she went straight to the bedroom. I stood in the kitchen and said, "Soup." "No," she called. "I want to sleep." I sat on the couch and talked to the quiet. "We'll be okay," I said. "We will." That night, she turned away from me. I touched her shoulder. "I love you." She said, "I know." I stared at the ceiling and planned a future without sound. I planned doctor visits, soft words, patience. I planned forgiveness for fate. The next morning, she said, "I don't want to talk about it." "Anytime," I said. "I'll wait." She nodded. "Thank you." I went to work and told my boss, "Family emergency." He said, "Take time." I took time and built a grave in my chest. I buried the name I never said. I buried the room I never painted. I buried a laugh I never heard. That afternoon, Emily said, "Don't look at me like that." "Like what?" I asked. "Like I'm glass." "I'm just worried," I said. "Tell me what you need." She said, "Normal. Act normal." I nodded. "Okay. What do you want for dinner?" She hesitated. "Pasta." I smiled. "Your favorite." She didn't smile back. "Please don't make it about before." "I won't," I said, lying. While water boiled, she said, "Can we give the clothes away?" "Already." I asked. "We can wait." "No," she said. Today. My chest burned. If that helps you. It does, she said quickly. I carried the box. I said, do you want to come? No, she said. I can't see it. At the donation center, a woman asked, boy or girl? I said, both, and laughed, then cried in the car. I wiped my face and said, be strong. When I got home, Emily asked, is it done? Yes, I said. It's done. She exhaled like relief. I ignored that too. That night, she said, if I pull away, don't chase me. I said, I'll wait right here. She said, thank you. I held her hand in the dark and said, I choose you. She didn't answer. I chose her anyway. After that day, everything sounded quieter. Emily stopped talking first. I tried to fill the space. Did you sleep? I asked one morning. Enough, she said. Do you want coffee? Not really. I poured it anyway and said, I can make toast. She looked at me. You don't have to keep asking. I just want to help. She sighed. I said I'm fine. I nodded. I always nodded. At night, I reached for her, and she moved away. I said, did I do something? No, she said. Please don't start. I'm not starting. I'm asking. She turned her back. I'm tired. Weeks passed like that. I tried jokes. Remember when you burned pasta? She said, that was before. I know, I said. I just thought. Stop, she snapped. You keep dragging me back. I thought talking helped. Not like this. I learned to speak less. Silence felt safer. I told myself grief had rules I didn't know. One evening, I said, Laura invited us for dinner. She froze. You go. We should go together. She doesn't need to see me like this. She's your sister. Emily grabbed her keys. I said you go. At Laura's place, she hugged me and asked, how is she? She's coping, I said. We are. Laura nodded too fast. She didn't meet my eyes. At dinner, she said, more potatoes. I'm okay, I said. She said, Emily hasn't been answering me. She needs time. Laura's hand shook. Of course. I drove home thinking, why won't anyone look at me? At home, Emily asked, did she ask questions? Just normal ones, I said. Good, she said. I can't handle pity. It wasn't pity. She stared at the wall. I don't want visitors anymore. Okay, I said. Whatever you need. I started doing everything quietly. Dishes, laundry, groceries. I thought love was service. I thought patience fixed things. One night, I said, I miss you. She said, I'm right here. I mean us. She rubbed her temples. I can't be what you want. I want you, I said. As you are. That's the problem, she said. I don't know who that is. I tried holding her again. She pulled away. Please don't. I'm your husband. She looked at me, eyes flat. Not right now. That hurt more than yelling would have. Another day, I asked, should we see someone? Together. She laughed, short and sharp. A therapist won't bring it back. I know, I said. But we are breaking. She said, you're breaking. I swallowed. I'm trying. You're smothering, she said. You watch me like I'll disappear. I'm scared, I said. I already lost so much. She stood. I can't carry your fear. I wanted to scream. I didn't. I said, tell me what to do. She said, nothing. I stopped asking. Days blurred. She stayed late at work. She guarded her phone. When I asked, who was that? She said, why are you interrogating me? I was curious. Well, stop. Laura came by once. She hugged Emily and avoided me. I said, did I upset you? She said, no. I'm just tired. Emily said, can you not put people on the spot? I didn't mean. I know, she said. You never mean to. That night, Emily said, I need space. How much? I asked. She hesitated. Time. Are you leaving? I asked. Not leaving, she said. Separating. The word felt heavy. I said, we can fix this. She shook her head. I can't breathe here. I looked around our room. I'll change. I don't want change, she said. I want quiet. I was so tired. I said, okay. She exhaled like relief. Thank you. I watched her pack a bag. I wanted to beg. I didn't. I sat on the bed and said, call me. She paused. I will. The door closed softly. I stayed still. I told myself love sometimes waits. I told myself this wasn't the end. I didn't know I was already alone. I sat at the small table and said, so this is it. Emily didn't sit. She stood with her purse on her shoulder and said, it's just paperwork. Just, I repeated. Right. The lawyer slid the pages toward me. Sign where it's marked. Emily said, we don't need to talk. I looked at her. We used to talk about everything. That was before, she said. Please don't do this. Do what? I asked. Ask why. She crossed her arms. We've already decided. I picked up the pen. My hand shook. I don't even know what I'm agreeing to. You're agreeing to peace, she said. Peace for who? I asked. She didn't answer. The room fell hollow, like sound couldn't stay. I signed once, then stopped. Was there someone else? Her eyes flashed. No. You didn't hesitate, I said. That should comfort me. It should, she said coldly. I signed again. The pen scratched too loud. The lawyer said, I'll file this. Emily nodded. Thank you. When we stood, I said, can we talk alone? She sighed. Make it quick. In the hallway, I said, I keep replaying everything. That's your choice, she said. I'm trying to understand, I said. I loved you. You still do, she said. That's why this hurts. Then tell me what I missed, I said. She looked past me. Nothing you could fix. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. I laughed without humor. You sound trained. She stiffened. Don't insult me. I'm not, I said. I'm begging. She lowered her voice. Stop making this harder. You made it hard, I said. You shut me out. She opened the door. Goodbye. Outside, Daniel waited by my car. He said, You okay? Emily froze. Daniel nodded at her. Emily. She said, Hi, and walked past him. Daniel watched her go and said, She won't even look back. I said, Don't start. He frowned. I'm serious. Something's off. She lost a baby, I said. We both did. I know, he said. But her story. Drop it, I said. He held up his hands. I'm on your side. Then trust her, I said. Daniel said, You're defending her like she's still here. She is, I said. Just not married to me. We drove. He said, You didn't ask for details. There are no details, I said. There are always details, he said. I stared out the window. I don't want to poison what we had. You mean what you think you had, he said gently. I snapped. Enough. He went quiet. At my place, he said, Call me if you need anything. I won't, I said. But thanks. Inside, the apartment echoed. I said out loud, I did my best. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily, Take care of yourself. I typed, You too, then erased it. I sent nothing. Days later, Daniel called. She moved fast. Stop, I said. She changed her number, he said. That's not normal. Grief isn't normal, I said. He paused. You're blind because you want to be. Or you're cruel, I said. He sighed. I'm worried about you. I'm fine, I said. I wasn't. I replayed her face at the door. I waited for regret that never came. I told myself love doesn't need answers. I told myself endings don't need reasons. One evening, I saw her across the street. I said, "Emily." She didn't turn. I said louder, "Emily." She kept walking. She didn't look back. In that moment, I understood I had signed more than papers. I had signed away my right to know why. I stood there longer than I should have. I said to the empty air, "Was any of it real?" No answer came. I walked home slowly and told myself questions were selfish. I said, "She did what she had to do." I said it again until it sounded true. At night, I folded the papers and put them in a drawer. I told myself closure was overrated. I told myself love sometimes ends quietly. Still, my chest felt wrong, like a room with missing walls. I slept with the lights on and dreamed of conversations that never happened. When I woke, I felt stupid for expecting more. I had lost my wife, my future, and my voice, all at once. I stood up, washed my face, and promised myself I would stop asking questions tomorrow. Somehow. 3 years passed before that afternoon. I told myself I was steady again. I worked, paid bills, smiled when required, and slept without dreams. I said, "I'm fine," and believed it most days. I stood in the bookstore holding a novel and muttered, "Too many endings." A small voice said, "Endings matter." I looked down. A boy stared at the cover and said, "If it ends bad, it stays bad." I laughed. "You sound sure." He shrugged. "My mom says stories tell the truth." "What's your favorite?" I asked. He pointed. "That one. The hero keeps asking questions." I swallowed. "That can be dangerous." He grinned. "Or brave." His eyes caught me. Same color as mine. Same tilt. I said, "What's your name?" "Ethan," he said. "What's yours?" I paused. "I'm Alex." He nodded like it mattered. "Nice to meet you." A woman stepped closer and said, "Ethan, don't wander." "I didn't," he said. "I'm talking." She looked at me, guarded. "Sorry." "No problem," I said. "He's thoughtful." She smiled tight. "He is." Ethan said, "Do you like stories?" "I do," I said. "I like how they begin." "I like middles," he said. "That's where choices happen." My chest felt strange. I said, "You're wise." He laughed. "I'm 7." The woman said, "Time to go." Ethan frowned. "Can I finish the page?" She said, "Later." He looked at me. "Bye." "Bye," I said, too softly. They walked away. I watched his steps. Familiar rhythm. I told myself coincidence. I told myself nothing. At the counter, the clerk said, "Find everything." "Yes," I said. More than I expected. Outside, I sat on a bench and breathed. "You're imagining things," I told myself. A voice said, "You drop this." It was the woman. She held the book. He put it back wrong. "Thank you," I said. "He's curious." She hesitated. "He asks many questions." "About what?" I asked. She stuttered me. "Life." "That tracks," I said. She nodded. "I'm Sophie." "Alex," I said. She shifted her bag. "We should go." Ethan tugged her sleeve. "Can I say goodbye again?" She sighed. "Quick." He said, "You should finish the story." "I will," I said. "I promise." He smiled and ran ahead. Sophie watched him like she was counting steps. I said, "He's lucky." She said, "I try." "Is his father around?" I asked, then regretted it. Her jaw tightened. "That's not appropriate." "I'm sorry," I said. "I didn't mean." "It's complicated," she said. "Have a good day." They left. My hand shook. I said, "Get a grip." I walk home replaying his voice. His hands. The way he listened. At my door, I stopped and laughed. "You're lonely," I told myself. "That's all." That night, Daniel called. You sound weird. I met a kid, I said. He said, that's it. He looked like me, I said. Silence. Then, careful. I know, I said. I'm being stupid. You're not stupid, he said. Just open. I slept badly. I dreamed of small shoes by my bed. A week later, I went back. I told myself coincidence happens twice. Ethan was there again. He said, you came back. I did, I said. Sophie stiffened. We are leaving. Ethan said, 1 minute. She said, Ethan. He whispered, I like your voice. My heart kicked. I like yours too. Sophie said, that's enough. I watched them go and felt something tear. A thought formed, sharp and slow. I said, no, out loud. People stared. I didn't care. I didn't have proof. I had a feeling. It was heavy. It wouldn't let go. I waited outside the bookstore and said, Sophie, please. She stopped and said, you shouldn't be here. I need to talk, I said. Just talk. Her eyes flicked to Ethan. Go look at the window. He said, okay, and walked a few steps away. Sophie crossed her arms. Say it. I said, you know why I'm asking. She shook her head. I don't. I recognize him, I said. His voice. His eyes. That doesn't mean anything, she said quickly. It means something to me, I said. Please don't lie. She laughed once. You don't get to demand truth. I'm not demanding, I said. I'm falling apart. Her mouth tightened. That's not my problem. I took a breath and said, was there really a miscarriage? She froze. I said, you didn't answer. She whispered, you should go. Say it, I said. Just say yes. She looked at the ground. I can't. My stomach dropped. So it was no. She shook her head. It's complicated. I laughed, thin and broken. It always is. She said, Emily didn't want this. Didn't want what? I asked. Me. She was scared, Sophie said. She felt trapped. With a child? I asked. With you knowing, she said. My ears rang. Knowing what? Sophie closed her eyes. That she was pregnant. I felt sick. Say that again. She never lost the baby, Sophie said. There was no miscarriage. I bent over and breathed. No, I said. You're mistaken. I helped her, Sophie said. I drove her to appointments. I pressed my hand to my mouth. Stop. She moved, Sophie said. She hid. From me, I said. Yes, she said. My hand shook. Why? She thought you'd take him, Sophie said. Or control everything. I loved her, I said. I loved our child. Sophie said, she didn't trust love. I laughed and felt tears burn. So she erased me. She thought it was kinder, Sophie said. Kinder, I repeated. To lie. She was breaking, Sophie said. She needed distance. I said, I held her while she lied to me. Sophie whispered, I know. I buried a child who wasn't dead, I said. She said, I'm sorry. Don't, I said. Don't apologize. Ethan looked back. Are you okay? I forced a smile. Yes. Sophie said, Ethan, wait by the door. He hesitated, then nodded. When he was gone, Sophie said, Emily asked me to protect him. From me, I said again. She thought you'd fight, Sophie said. Or disappear. I disappeared anyway, I said. Sophie pulled out her phone. You want proof? I nodded. She showed me pictures. A hospital bracelet. A newborn. Emily's face, tired and real. Dates burned my eyes. I said, that's my son. Sophie said, yes. My knees buckled. Saturday I missed his first word. I know, she said. I missed everything, I said. She said, Emily thought it was better. I laughed, then gagged. She rewrote my life. Sophie said, she regrets it. Does he know? I asked. No, she said. Not yet. Does he ask? I asked. All the time, she said. I stared at the pictures. I trusted her. Sophie said, she counted on that. The world felt wrong. Every memory twisted. The hospital room. The packed bag. The relief when I gave away clothes. I said, she was relieved. Sophie didn't answer. I said, she let me defend her. I tried to stop it, Sophie said softly. When? I asked. Too late, she said. Ethan came back and said, can we go? Yes, Sophie said. She looked at me. Please don't do anything. I said, I won't. She said, you promise? I looked at my shaking hands. I don't know how to move. She nodded and left. I sat alone with the phone. I stared until the images blurred. I felt rage rise and collapse into grief. I didn't scream. I didn't chase. I folded inward. I whispered, I'm a father. The word felt unreal. I stayed there until the light changed and people walked past me. I held proof that shattered my past and rewrote my name. I finally stood and said nothing to anyone. I walked home slowly, carrying a truth I was never meant to hold. I met Emily at a quiet cafe and said, thank you for coming. She sat stiff and said, I didn't have a choice. You always had choices, I said. You just didn't choose me. Her jaw tightened. That's not fair. I'm not here for fair, I said. I'm here for truth. She folded her hands. What do you want to know? Everything, I said. Start anywhere. She laughed nervously. I was scared. You keep saying that, I said. Say more. I felt trapped, she said. Pregnant. Married. Watched. Watched. I asked. You wanted to plan everything, she said. Names. Rooms. Futures. I wanted to be a father, I said. And I wanted control, she said. Over my body. My life. So you lied, I said. She flinched. I panicked. You staged a death, I said calmly. You let me grieve. Her eyes filled. I didn't think you'd survive knowing. I didn't survive not knowing, I said. She wiped her cheek. I thought leaving was mercy. For who? I asked. For me, she whispered. I nodded. Thank you for being honest. She looked surprised. You're not angry. I am, I said. But anger won't help me hear you. She swallowed. I couldn't face your disappointment. You never gave me a chance, I said. I know, she said. I was selfish. Yes, I said. You were. She stared at the table. I regret it every day. Regret doesn't give me years back, I said. I know, she said. I can't fix it. Then don't pretend you tried, I said. She looked up, eyes wide. I did try. You tried to protect yourself, I said. Not our child. She whispered, I love him. I love him too, I said, without ever holding him. Her shoulders shook. I didn't think you'd come back. I didn't, I said. He pulled me. She said, I was afraid you'd take him away. I would never, I said. You took him from me. She covered her face. I was young. So was I said. She breathed hard. Say whatever you need. I trusted you, I said. I defended you when people questioned you. She nodded. I know. I blamed myself, I said. I buried a future. I'm sorry, she said. I don't need apologies, I said. I need accountability. She looked confused. What does that mean? It means you stop rewriting the story, I said. You stop calling fear love. She whispered, I was wrong. Yes, I said. You were. Silence stretched. She said, what happens now? That depends on me, I said. She leaned forward. Please don't hurt him. I won't, I said. I'm not you. That landed. She stiffened. That's cruel. It's accurate, I said. She wiped her eyes. Do you hate me? I don't have time for hate, I said. I have a son to learn. She said, You sound different. I am, I said. I'm awake. She nodded slowly. I see that. I'm not asking permission, I said. I'm informing you. About what? She asked. I will be in his life, I said. In a way that doesn't damage him. She whispered, He'll ask questions. So will I said. She took a shaky breath. I deserve whatever you decide. That's the first true thing you've said, I said. She reached for my hand. I moved it away. Don't. She pulled back, ashamed. Okay. I stood. I came for closure. Did you get it? She asked. I got clarity, I said. Closure is something I give myself. She nodded. I hope one day you forgive me. I hope one day you forgive yourself, I said. But that's not my work. I turned to leave. She said, You were a good husband. I paused. You never let me be a father. Her face crumpled. I walked out steady. The air felt lighter. I wasn't healed, but I wasn't broken. I had my spine back. I had my truth. For the first time, she was afraid, and I was not. I sat with Daniel on my couch and said, I don't know what to do. He leaned back and said, You do. You're just scared. I missed 7 years, I said. I don't get to walk in and claim anything. You don't have to claim, he said. You can show up. What if he hates me? I asked. He doesn't know you, Daniel said. Hate comes later. I rubbed my face. Emily stole time from me. She did, he said. But revenge won't give it back. I don't want revenge, I said. I want peace. Then choose responsibility, he said. I laughed softly. Easy for you. Daniel said, I watched you die quietly. I won't watch you hide now. I stood. I'm afraid. That's allowed, he said. Running isn't. I drove to the park and sat in my car. I said, You're not ready, then opened the door anyway. Ethan sat on a swing. Sophie stood nearby. She saw me and stiffened. I said, Hi. She said, You shouldn't be here. I know, I said. I won't stay long. Ethan kicked dirt. You came back. I did, I said. Is that okay? He nodded. You said you would. Sophie said, 5 minutes. Thank you, I said. I sat on the bench and said, How's school? It's boring, he said. But I like science. I like science too, I said. He looked up. Really? Yes, I said. It asks why. He smiled. I ask that a lot. I noticed, I said. He swung his legs. Are you my friend? The question cut deep. I said, I'd like to be. Good, he said. I don't have many. I swallowed. You have people who care. He shrugged. Not like you. Sophie shifted. I said, I won't confuse him. She said, You already are. Ethan said, It's okay. Sophie sighed. 2 more minutes. I said, What do you like to do? Draw, he said. And build things. I build things too, I said. Slowly. He nodded like that mattered. You talk calm. I try, I said. He asked, Do you have kids? No, I said. Not yet. He said, You'd be good. My chest tightened. That's kind. Sophie said, Time. I stood. Thank you for talking to me. Ethan said, Will you come again? I looked at Sophie. She hesitated. We'll see. I'd like that, I said. He ran back to the swing. I walked away steady, shaking inside. In the car, I breathed and said, You didn't take him. I called Daniel. I met him. And? He asked. I didn't say the word, I said. You don't have to, he said. I felt it, I said. He felt safe. Daniel said, that's how it starts. What if Emily blocks me? I asked. She can try, he said. Truth has weight. I stared at my hands. I'm angry. Be angry, he said. Then be present. I don't want to hurt him, I said. Then don't disappear, he said. That night, I said his name out loud. Ethan. It fit. I didn't claim him. I didn't demand anything. I promised myself patience. I promised honesty. I promised I would earn every step. I lay awake imagining small moments. Not titles. Not rights. Just time. I wasn't a father yet. I was something forming. I held that quietly and let it grow. I didn't do anything to her. That was the strangest part. I just watched. Emily called first. We need to talk. I said, about what? Things are hard, she said. They were always hard, I said. She swallowed. He's asking questions. I stayed quiet. He asked about his father, she said. I didn't know what to say. That's not my problem, I said. You're being cold, she said. I'm being honest, I said. You asked for that. She sighed. My relationship ended. I'm sorry, I said, and meant nothing by it. You don't care, she said. I care about one thing, I said. And it's not your mess. She went quiet. He saw us arguing. I didn't raise my voice, I said. I wasn't talking about you, she said. I closed my eyes. This is what choices sound like. She said, you're enjoying this. No, I said. I'm healing. Days passed. Sophie texted. He asked again. He asked why I'm calm. He asked why names matter. I answered what I could and nothing more. Emily showed up at the park one afternoon and said, You've changed. So have you, I said. She looked tired. He doesn't listen to me. He's growing, I said. He listens to you, she said. I listen to him, I said. She clenched her fists. You're taking him from me. I'm not, I said. You're pushing. She laughed. Brittle. You act like you're above this. I'm done sinking, I said. She said, I need help. You need accountability, I said. She stared. You always talk like that now. Because it's clear, I said. She whispered, I'm scared. So was I said. For years. She sat and covered her face. I can't fix this. No, I said. You can't. She looked up. What do you want? I want peace, I said. For him. She nodded slowly. He asked if you were his dad. I didn't move. What did you say? I said he had someone who loved him, she said. That's true, I said. She said, he said your voice feels safe. My chest tightened. He deserves safety. She wiped her eyes. I'm losing him. You never owned him, I said. That hurt her. I didn't take it back. Later, Daniel said, she's unraveling. I know, I said. Do you feel bad? He asked. I feel finished, I said. That's not nothing, he said. Emily tried again a week later. Can we reset? I said. No. She said, for him. I am, I said. She said, you're punishing me. I'm choosing myself, I said. She said, people are judging me. I was judged quietly, I said. She stared at me like I was someone new. You won. I didn't compete, I said. Ethan sat between us one day and asked, Why are you sad, Mom? She froze. I said gently, sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt. He nodded. Do they fix them? Sometimes, I said. Sometimes they learn. He leaned against me without thinking. Emily noticed. That was the moment. The shift. She saw what she lost, not to me, but to time. She said later, I didn't think karma was real. It's not loud, I said. It's patient. She whispered, I hate myself. I'm not here to punish you, I said. I'm here to protect him. She nodded. I know. I watched her walk away slower than before. I felt nothing sharp. Just space. I sat with Ethan and said, "Do you want to draw?" "Yes," he said. "What?" I asked. "A house," he said. "With room." I smiled. "Let's make it strong." I didn't celebrate her fall. I didn't push it. I didn't touch it. Karma didn't need my help. I stayed where I was, steady, present, and quiet. The power shifted without noise. The justice came without blood. And for the first time, I didn't feel behind. I stood in the kitchen with Daniel and said, "I've decided." He raised an eyebrow. "That sounds dangerous." "It's calm," I said. "That's how I know." He leaned on the counter. "Tell me." "I'm not fighting her," I said. "I'm not chasing the past." "So what are you doing?" he asked. "I'm choosing who I want to be," I said. Daniel smiled. "About time." Later that day, Emily asked to meet. I said yes because fear no longer decided things. We sat across from each other. She said, "I'm tired." "I know," I said. She said, "He's happier with you around." "He's happier with honesty," I said. She looked down. "I ruined everything." "You damaged things," I said. "I ruined myself by staying silent." She flinched. "I don't know how to fix this." "I'm not asking you to," I said. She looked up. "Then what do you want?" "I want boundaries," I said. "And consistency." She nodded slowly. "You want custody." "I want presence," I said. "On his terms." She whispered, "He calls you Alex." "That's okay," I said. "You don't want him to know?" she asked. "Not yet," I said. "Truth needs timing." She wiped her eyes. "You're better than me." "I'm just done bleeding," I said. She said, "Do you forgive me?" I paused. "I forgive myself." She nodded like she understood. "That's fair." When I left, my phone buzzed. Ethan's name lit the screen through Sophie's phone. He said, "Are you coming today?" "Yes," I said. "Good," he said. "I made something." At the park, he handed me a drawing. "It's a bridge." "What's it for?" I asked. "So people can cross," he said. "Without falling." I swallowed. "That's smart." He said, "You listen." "I'm learning," I said. He asked, "Can you come again tomorrow?" "I can," I said. "If you want." He smiled wide. "I want." Sophie watched us and said, "Thank you." "For what?" I asked. "For being gentle," she said. I shook my head. "For being present." That night, I sat alone and said out loud, "I'm not broken." The words felt strange. I said them again. "I'm not broken." I thought about the man I was. The husband who blamed himself. The father who didn't know he was one. I said, I did the best I could with lies I was given. I slept without dreams. Weeks passed. Routine formed. I didn't rush. I didn't demand. I showed up. Ethan talked. I listened. Sometimes he asked, "Why do you look sad?" I said, "I remember things." "Good things?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "And lessons." One afternoon, he said, "Do you have a dad?" I did, I said. "What was he like?" he asked. "He taught me how to stand," I said. He nodded. "Can you teach me?" I smiled. "I'd like that." I didn't claim titles. I claimed moments. Homework. Walks. Quiet jokes. I felt myself growing into space I was denied. Emily stayed distant. That was healthy. When she spoke, it was careful. When she watched, it was quiet. She no longer controlled the story. Daniel said one night, "You look lighter." I put something down, I said. "What?" he asked. "Shame," I said. He raised his glass. "To choosing yourself." I raised mine. "To choosing better." On a cold morning, Ethan and I stood by the river. He threw a stone and said, "It sinks." "Yes," I said. "Does that mean it's gone?" he asked. "No," I said. "It just changes where it rests." He nodded like he understood everything. He took my hand without asking. I didn't flinch. I didn't question. I let it happen. In that moment, I felt whole. Not because the past healed, but because it stopped ruling me. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need apologies. I had truth, patience, and choice. I watched the water move forward and said, "I'm here." Ethan said, "I know." That was enough.